The imperial palace of Zixta gleamed under 3 suns, its crystalline spires reaching toward the violet sky. Within its obsidian halls, Linda pushed her cleaning cart with practiced efficiency, her human frame dwarfed by the architecture designed for beings twice her size. She had been a janitor here for 2 cycles now, ever since her colony ship had been captured and its passengers sold as indentured servants across the galactic empire. Most humans ended up in the mines. Linda considered herself lucky. Emperor Vexenor, the Infinite, supreme ruler of 47 star systems, paid little attention to the cleaning staff. Why would he? They were beneath his notice, insignificant specks maintaining the grandeur of his domain. Linda preferred it that way. Invisibility meant survival. But today, everything changed. Linda was polishing the jade columns in the Emperor's private conservatory when she heard it, a weak, pitiful chirping sound that made her heart clench. She followed the noise to a corner where exotic plants from 100 worlds created a miniature jungle. There, partially hidden behind a crimson fern, lay a small creature no bigger than a house cat. It was a baby Draconix, one of the legendary star dragons that the Emperor bred as symbols of his power. This one's scales should have shimmered like opals, but they were dull and gray. Its eyes, which should have blazed within a fire, were clouded. One of its wings was bent at an unnatural angle. Linda glanced around. The conservatory was empty. She knew the protocol savants who interfered with the Emperor's possessions faced airlock execution. But the creature made that sound again, a desperate plea that bypassed all logic and spoke directly to something fundamental in her human nature. She couldn't just walk away. Kneeling beside the dragon, Linda carefully examined the damaged wing. Fractured, not broken completely. She'd grown up on a farm back on Earth, had helped her father care for injured animals. The basics were universal: stabilize, comfort, heal. It's okay, little one, she whispered, her voice soft. I've got you. Using cleaning rags from her cart, Linda fashioned a makeshift splint. The dragonling hissed weakly but didn't bite. She could feel its rapid heartbeat through its scales, could sense its terror and pain. From her lunch container, she extracted a piece of synthesized protein and offered it. The creature sniffed, then nibbled cautiously. For the next hour, Linda tended to the abandoned hatchling. She hydrated it with clean water, gently massaged its cold scales to improve circulation, and created a warm nest from her own jacket. The dragonling's eyes began to clear. A faint shimmer returned to its scales. She didn't hear the door open, didn't notice the towering figure until his shadow fell across her. What are you doing? Linda's blood turned to ice. She looked up into the multifaceted eyes of Emperor Vexenor himself. His 4 arms were crossed, his expression unreadable. Behind him stood Pedro, the head of palace security, a human like her who'd worked his way up through sheer competence and ruthlessness. His face was carefully neutral, but his eyes screamed a warning. You're dead. Linda stood slowly, placing herself between the Emperor and the dragon. Your Excellency. That creature was rejected by its mother, Vexenor interrupted, his voice like grinding stone. Weak, deformed. I ordered it removed and disposed of 3 hours ago. Yet here you are, nursing it. His head tilted, a gesture that in his species indicated lethal interest. Explain why I shouldn't execute you for defying my command. Linda's mind raced. Fear hammered in her chest, but she stood her ground. Because your command was wrong. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Pedro made a strangled sound. Several of the Emperor's guards reached for their weapons, but Vexenor raised one hand, stopping them. Wrong. The word came out dangerously soft. You, a human cleaning slave, dare tell me this dragonling isn't weak, Linda said, her voice gaining strength. Its wing was broken, probably during hatching. That's treatable. It was dehydrated and hypothermical, so treatable. None of this makes it defective. She gestured to the now alert creature behind her. Look at it. Really look. The Emperor stepped closer, his massive form looming. Linda forced herself not to flinch. After an eternal moment, Vexenor knelt to examine the His expression shifted as he took in the repositioned wing, the brighter eyes, the way the small creature chirped hopefully. On Earth, Linda continued quietly, we have a saying, nature doesn't make mistakes, only variations. This little one was different from the others, so it got pushed aside, overlooked. But different doesn't mean worthless. Sometimes the ones everyone else gives up on become the strongest of all. Vexenor was silent for a long moment. Then he did something unprecedented. He laughed. The sound boomed through the conservatory, making the exotic plants tremble. Pedro, the Emperor said, without looking away from Linda, tell me, how did this human come to be in my palace? Captured colonist, Your Excellency, Pedro replied stiffly. Educated background, agricultural science. She was assigned to cleaning due to lack of technical skills relevant to imperial needs. Agricultural science, Vexenor repeated. Knowledge of caring for living things, nurturing, healing. He stood, and his next words shocked everyone present. And you placed her pushing a mop. He reached down, and with surprising gentleness, scooped up the dragon. It chirped and nuzzled against his smallest arm. Humans, the Emperor said, turning to fully face Linda. Your species never ceases to confound us. You're physically weak. Your technology was primitive when we found you. By every logical measure, you should have been forgotten by now, absorbed into the Empire as just another servant race. He held up the Yet you do things like this. You show compassion to something that cannot reward you. You risk death to save a creature you have no connection to. You argue with beings who could crush you without thought, not from stupidity, but from a conviction that some things matter more than survival. Vexenor looked at Pedro. Promote this human. She is now Chief of Imperial Exotic Life Sciences. Her first task will be to heal this dragonling and train others in proper creature care. Her second task will be to review all other defective specimens I've ordered disposed of. Linda's jaw dropped. Pedro looked equally stunned. Your Excellency, Pedro managed. She has no formal, she has what cannot be taught. The Emperor interrupted. The ability to see value where others see only waste. That is worth more than all your technical degrees. He fixed Linda with those inscrutable eyes. Well, do you accept? Linda thought of all the humans in the mines, in the factories, in positions where their true abilities went unused. She thought of the small creature that would have died cold and alone if she'd just walked past. She thought of all the other forgotten things in this vast empire that needed someone to care. I accept, she said, on one condition. The guards gasped. Even the Emperor seemed surprised. You bargain with me. I want Pedro as my assistant, Linda said firmly, and I want the authority to recruit other humans for my department. We're good at this, at seeing potential in the overlooked. Let us prove it. For the second time, Emperor Vexenor laughed. Audacious, foolish, very human. He inclined his head slightly the closest his species came to a bow. Granted. Show me what your strange little species can do when given the chance. As Linda accepted the dragonling back into her arms, feeling its now strong heartbeat, she caught Pedro's eye. He was smiling, actually smiling for the first time since she'd known him. Welcome to the upper levels, he murmured as the Emperor swept from the room. You magnificent, terrifying woman. Linda looked down at the creature in her arms, its scales beginning to shimmer with true opalescence. Sometimes, she thought, the greatest strength wasn't in how hard you could hit, or how fast you could run. Sometimes it was simply in refusing to look away when others would, in caring when caring seemed pointless. That was the human way, and perhaps, just perhaps, it was exactly what this cold empire needed.